Hey guys, I'm going to teach you all about exterior angles of triangles. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to use the exterior angle theorem to solve for missing angles in those triangles. So go ahead and get your binder, turn to the math section, let's get ready to take some notes. The first thing we need to know is the definition of the word exterior. Exterior means outside. So in relationship to a triangle, the exterior angles are on the outside of a triangle. The exterior angle is formed when one side of the triangle is extended. That extension of an adjacent side of the triangle creates an exterior angle. So looking at this picture, which angle is on the outside of the triangle? Angle 4 is the exterior angle. It's outside of the triangle. 1, 2, and 3 are the interior angles. We can even be more specific about some types of interior angles. Remote interior angles are the two interior angles that are not adjacent or touching the exterior angle. So in this picture up here, the ones that are not touching or adjacent to angle 4 is 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are not touching that outside exterior angle. That means they are remote interior angles. There's one last thing I want to talk about this picture up here that we see. Angles 1, 2, and 3 add up to be 180 degrees. They are interior angles. But now that we've created that extension, angle 4 and angle 3 also have a special relationship. Angle 4 and angle 3 add up to be 180 degrees as well. So you might want to make a note of that. That's going to be important for the next section we look at. Now we're looking at this picture, and it says this triangle ABC is shown, and we want to determine if there's enough information to find the measure of the exterior angles. First, we need to figure out what are the exterior angles in this picture. Angle 1, 2, and 3 are the exterior angles. They're outside of the triangle, and if we can find those, we want to label those angle measurements. I can tell you right now, we absolutely can find those just because of what I showed you up above. Angle 1 and this 50-degree angle, they are on a straight line. And the relationship between two angles on a straight line is that they will always add up to be this number, 180 degrees, which means angle 1 is 130. Keeping this rule about two angles in a straight line adding up to be 180 degrees, see if you can figure out what's the measure of angle 2. Angle 2 is 110 degrees because 110 plus 70 equals 180. And they're on a straight line, and every straight line has a sum of 180 degrees. Last one, see if you can figure out what the measure of angle 3 is. Angle 3 is 120 degrees because 60 and 120 are on that straight line. The straight line will always have a sum of 180. All right, so we've done this first task, and we know some things about this triangle. We know that 50 plus 70 plus 60 equals 180. Now the next instruction says just find the sum of angles A and B. Just go ahead and take 50 and 70 and add those together. What do you get? You should get 120, and we saw that over here. These two angles on the inside added up to be this number on the outside. Interesting. So we've done that task. Let's look at the next one. It says find the sum of angles B and C. All right, so 70 plus 60 made 130. So those two angles on the inside added up to be this on the outside. Okay, let's do the next one. The last one says find the sum of angles A and C. And it happened again. We just got the sum of 110, which was the exterior angle. So we should have just noticed a pattern that we discovered. Any exterior angle, so like the 110 that we just found, is equal to the sum, we just added those two numbers together, of its two what? What are these two angles in relationship to that exterior angle 110? Those are the remote interior angles, that definition that we wrote up here. These two angles are not touching that exterior angle, they're not on that side. They're inside of the triangle, but they're not touching the exterior angle on the outside. And that worked for all these examples that we looked at. That is because of the exterior angle theorem. We just defined it and we proved why it works. If you add up the two remote interior angles in a triangle, that will add up to equal the exterior angle. We can apply the exterior angle theorem to question number 2. It says find the value of x, explain your reasoning. So I'll first see a triangle, and I know that all three angles in a triangle add up to be 180 degrees. The problem here is that I only have one of the angles in the triangle. I do, however, have an exterior angle. This theorem says that if I add up the two remote interior angles, they will equal the exterior angle. So using that theorem, I can set up and solve this two-step equation. You would subtract 54 from both sides, and you're left with x equals 61 degrees. There are other ways to solve for x here. You may have noticed that this exterior angle forms this straight line. So you can actually solve for this missing angle here. We know it would be 65 degrees since there's 180 degrees in this straight line. Then we can use what we know about the interior angles of a triangle to solve for x. We know 54 plus 65 plus x equals 180. So that's just another way to get us 61. The exterior angle theorem should be kind of a shortcut, but either way works. So I want you to try number 3 by yourself. You can use whatever strategy you want to find the value of x, but you have to explain your reasoning. How did you get your answer? Go ahead and try this by yourself now and then press play when you're ready to check. All right, so the first thing you could have done is just like our examples up here, we could have went ahead and added those two remote interior angles, and we realized the sum of those angles will be that exterior angle. That's probably the simplest way to do this, to get 116 as the measure of x. You could have also solved for this missing third angle in the triangle. You know every triangle has a sum of 180 degrees in total, so you would realize that red angle is 64 degrees. Then you would do 180 minus 64 to figure out what your x equals, since again this is on a straight line now, and you know that every straight line has a sum of 180 degrees. So here are some challenge problems on the back for you to write and solve equations to help find the value of x and the missing angles in these triangles. There is a number bank of options to help you check your solution. However, not all the numbers will be used. In this video, we're just going to do one example together, and that's going to be number 4. We're going to start by setting up an equation that helps us solve for x. So we're going to start by using the exterior angle theorem. Let's figure out which one of these is the exterior angle. 95 is the exterior angle. The theorem says that the two remote interior angles add up to be 95. So go ahead and write that as an equation. I just put the 4x minus 8, that angle, plus the other remote interior angle, 3x minus 16, equals 95, the exterior angle. Now that I have the equation set up, I can start solving. My first step is to draw my line down the equals, and I'm going to combine my like terms on the left side. 4x plus 3x is 7x, then I bring everything else down. I still see some numbers I can simplify. I see negative 8 plus negative 16. Go ahead and do that. You should get negative 24 and then bring everything else down. Now we need to get rid of that negative 24 or the minus 24. So we're going to add 24 to both sides. That's the inverse operation. And then bring everything else down. Last step, we need to get rid of that times 7. So we need to use the inverse operation. Divide by 7. If we do it to one side, we have to do it to both sides. So that leaves me with the solution x equals 17. Now we're not done yet. We wanted to know what x equals. That's 17. However, we also want to know what angle FGH is. So we want to start by kind of tracing from F to G to H to see which angle we're talking about. I can see that angle is 3x minus 16. And so we just want to go ahead and plug in 17 in for the x. 3 times 17 minus 16 is 35. So that angle is 35 degrees. We don't have to solve for the other missing angle. It wasn't asked. All right, guys, that's it. If you made it to the end of this video, I want to know, how would you design the exterior of your dream car? Today, we learned all about the exterior angles of triangles. Now we should be able to use that exterior angle theorem to solve for missing angles in triangles. Now you should go back to the calendar and put any other assignments you have left for the day. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.